I'm pleased that you have taken the time to join this webinar, and we look very much forward to telling you about this latest Fronter upgrade, which we call Fronter 19. My name is Per Torbøl. I am Product Director at itslearning, and one of the products I am responsible for is Fronter. I will be joined today by Johan Busk, who is our Educational Consultant Manager for Fronter, and by Tapio Janasic, who is our Service Manager and the leader of our International Integration Team. And today we will be talking about this latest Fronter upgrade. And as I said, we have a lot of the agenda. So for those who have come in recently, please write your questions in the questions pane, and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. We will also try to include the questions that you have and the answers we have to them in the FAQ, which is available on our Fronter website. In this webinar, we will cover the following things. We will describe and show Fronter 19 to you, tell you about the pedagogical workflow and the pedagogical tools. We will also tell you something about time, what happens when, and what is going on from now and the rest of the year. And we will talk about how you best prepare yourself and your colleagues over the coming months in order to reap the full benefits of this important upgrade. By the end of this webinar, you should have a good understanding of Fronter 19, an understanding of the timeline, and some certainty about what to do next. You will also know where to access extra information and resources. For those of you who might have colleagues who could not attend today, we have one more international webinar scheduled, which will be held on May the 8th. And there will also be local webinars in each country. Some of them have already been conducted, and more are being scheduled right now and taking place over the coming months. But let's get started. itslearning acquired Fronter at the end of 2015. That's a little more than 3 years ago. And one of the first things that we did was to ask our new customers, all the Fronter customers, what do you want from itslearning? And of course, when you ask so many people about that, you get many different answers coming in. But there was one answer which was recurring among really many of the customers we asked. And they said, we want higher quality. One quote goes as follows: well, you are known in itslearning for high quality on your itslearning platform. We want higher quality on the Fronter platform. But what is higher quality? And how do you provide higher quality? Well, that very much depends on who you're asking. If you look at the IT department, which is for some customers are the primarily people we are in communication with, they want high uptime. They want a robust system which has few bugs, and of course they want GDPR compliance. That's what everyone talking about since May last year. But if you look at the teachers and the pedagogical consultants, they want pedagogical tools. That means better tools, more modern tools, a modern user interface, tools that goes across platforms, and pedagogical tools that seem more easy and user-friendly to use than the one they were accustomed to in existing Fronter. Most teachers are not too worried about GDPR compliance, but when they are forced to do it, they want some user-friendly GDPR compliance, meaning it should not be a bother to handle personal data in any ways. If we look at the left-hand side and what the IT department they want, we believe that we have delivered on the uptime and the robust systems and the GDPR compliance. Let's look at availability. The first year when we took over, just after we took over, we had an availability and uptime of 99.6%. That means 99.6% of the time, Fronter was available. And we have improved that over the years. And our goal is to have a 99.9 uptime for Fronter. And we still have that goal, and we want to take it even further. So you can say that we have delivered that. We also managed to increase the robustness of the system. As an example, we have decreased the number of bugs dramatically in the system, and we have GDPR compliance. So you can say that the wishes from the IT department, we have met them and we have delivered on them. But if we look at the pedagogical tools, the things that the teachers wanted, we have not made equal progress. A typical Fronter site still looks something like this. And this is pretty much the way that Fronter has looked for many years. That is until now. Because this is where the upgrade to Fronter 19 comes in. And this is what the new Fronter looks like. With this upgrade, we introduce a new possibility for teachers to use modern, best-of-breed pedagogical tools. You can use them from a user interface that is fully responsible, meaning it will adjust itself to the screen size, it looks very good, and it works very well on all devices, including tablets and mobiles. We now introduce into Fronter a vast array of modern and user-friendly pedagogical tools, and this gives teachers, schools, the opportunity to unlock the potential that lies in using a modern learning management system like Fronter 19 is. In addition, it is a much more secure system, and the implementation of GDPR is done in a much more user-friendly manner. That means that users and administrators themselves have a lot of tools directly available. They don't have to go through support and ask us to do some of the things that are necessary to be compliant with GDPR. So we in itslearning are very excited about this Fronter upgrade. And I think I will hand over now to Johan Busk, and he will tell you more about the pedagogical functions that we have in Fronter 19.
Thank you, Per. I will show my screen. Here you go. So, hi everyone. My name is Johan Busk, and I will try to explain Fronter 19. And I'll try to explain this in 3 steps. First, a short overview, then new or improved features to support your pedagogical workflow. And then finally, a features comparison between the 2 versions. Let's start with the Fronter 19 overview. When you log into Fronter 19, you come to the home page. Home replaces the current Today page and gives you the latest information relevant to you from all the places you belong. Home consists of 3 sections. First, the top menu with your personal tools, which are always there for you, just like you're used to in current Fronter. Teachers will have more tools than students in the top menu. On the right, you'll find the notification bell, messages, and your personal settings. In the main frame to the left, you'll find the recent updates, which for example could be news from a subject. On the right, you have the follow-up task section that notifies you if you have any new student answers in any of your activities, and one click takes you there. Below them is the event section, that shows upcoming events from your calendar. Students will have the same layout on the home page, but there is one difference. On the upper right, students have a list of their active tasks and their deadlines. Rooms in Fronter become courses in Fronter 19, and you reach them from the top menu. Here, I'm in the course English, and the course start page is called Overview, and it has the same sections as the home page. But here, the information is gathered from this course, English. You will see the course menu below the top menu. We have made it easier for you to use cloud files from Google and Microsoft. And with Office Online, you can use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint without having the apps installed on your device or a Microsoft account. It all works within Fronter. And if you do have a Microsoft or Google account, you can connect them with your Fronter account. If your school has a Google Suite or Office 365 account, we have built even deeper integrations. As Per mentioned, Fronter 19 is fully mobile and works on all types of devices and sizes. This will be one of the biggest changes you will see in this upgrade. Talking about mobile, we have made communication easier with a new messaging tool. You find it in the top menu. To write a message, just start typing the name of a course or a person. Fronter will search for you. And you can send to a whole course or individuals or both at the same time. And they work perfectly well in the app as well. So communication just got very much easier in Fronter. Now to the very important part, the right-hand side of Per's request slide, the pedagogical workflows. Here's an image of the pedagogical workflow in Fronter, and this hasn't changed, of course. I will give you some examples of new or improved features in each part of the Fronter wheel. Let's start with planning. You have been asking for a planning tool in Fronter for a long time. Now it's here. We have made a flexible tool so that you can adjust it for your needs. In this example, I use topics. Topics can be subjects or part of a subject, like for example, geometry and algebra in math. Some will use topics for a time period, like for example, a week or a month. To a topic, you add plans. So plan is a part of a topic. Here I use 4 columns, but this is also flexible. If your topic was a month, a plan would probably be a week. To add resources to a plan, just click Add Resources. You will now see the most common resources to create or add to a plan. Let's have a look at a new feature, the library. Library is a place for teachers to share resources with each other. But it's also possible to add country-specific content from other content providers. Here, I search for geometry. I get a list of results, and the best thing about the library is the filtering tool, where I can filter for age group, type of resource, language, and many more. If I find something interesting in the list, I just open it, and if I like it, I add it to my plan. If I choose Show All under Add Resource, I find even more pedagogical tools to use in my plan. From here, I can add files from just about anywhere, but also create office files, surveys, discussions, learning paths, and much more. This is, again, the overview, which is the starting page in a course. So this is the overview in mathematics. When there is an active plan in the course, it will be shown on top. So it is the first thing students see when they enter the course. They will also have a start button, which takes them to resources in the plan in the order that the teacher has chosen. On the upper right corner, they can go back and forth in the plan or jump directly to a specific resource. And if there is a calendar event for a course, where there also is an active plan, there is a link to that plan. And if you click on the plan icon, you will get information about the plan and also a direct link to it. So let's talk about some teaching tools. You can add a task to a plan. Task is a useful tool that can be used for many purposes. I will give you 2 examples. Here's a flipped classroom type of task, telling the students to watch a lecture video before the next lesson. You can set a deadline, mark it as homework, and if you want, students can let you know if they've seen it. In this next example, I want to assess a non-digital task, like a speech, inside Fronter, so that I have all my assessments in one place. Here, I have written a comment and also made an assessment to a student, and more about assessing soon. One of the most used tools in Fronter is the assignment tool. It is also the tool where we have received most requests for improvements. With the new assignment tool, we think that we can fulfill your wishes. Here, the teacher has created an assignment. To the right, we have settings for the assignment. Let's expand these. Here you find settings like deadline and group activity like you're used to. But there are also new functionalities like anonymous submission and peer assessment. We are now also working on adding self-assessment as an option to assignments. As you can see to the left, I have added a Word file. I can also add files from my Google or Microsoft accounts. And it will very soon be possible to give each student a copy of the file so that they have a file to work with right away. They won't have to leave the assignment. When assessing a student's assignment, we have gathered everything in one single view. The student's office file or PDF will open to the left, and teachers can comment and edit inside the file. To the right, the assessing tools. Let's expand these. We have simplified the process of sending a student's answer back to the student. Just choose if the answer is complete or incomplete. When you choose incomplete, the student can answer again. Simple as that. Down below, you have a discussion area with the students during the process, just like you have in current Fronter. But we have also made it easier to give audio and video feedback with a new built-in, plug-in free media tool that works on all devices. In the test tool, we have added some new question types like select from a list, fill in the blank, order, and hotspot. And they will work much better on small devices as well. You will be able to upgrade your current tests to the new Fronter test tool. And we are still developing the test tool, so you will see more great news during 2019. So, some words about assessing in Fronter 19. In current Fronter, you can grade assignments and tests with comments and grade in a plain text field. In Fronter 19, you use predefined assessment scales. Your organization or school can define these, and there can be more than one scale. We have also included your national curriculum, so you can assess against them. You can also create your own rubrics to use when you assess. Here's an example where I use rubrics to assess a student. This means that it is now possible to assess students towards rubric goals in a single activity, which it's not in current Fronter. So the final part of the Fronter wheel, analyze. Under status and follow-up, you will find different reports depending on what you want to analyze. If you use assessment scales, you will find the report under assessment record. This view is similar to the result matrix in current Fronter portfolio. This view will show your assessment scales, in this case grades from A to F. If you have connected national curriculum or other goals to activities, you will find an alignment report to keep track on what's been covered in the course so far. If you use rubrics, you will now find a progress report, since you now can assess a student towards goals in each single task. We have also developed 360 degrees infographic reports, which give you an even more visual and detailed view over your students' activity and progress in your course. And we are soon adding this view for mentors, so they can see a student's activity and progress in all the students' courses. And we will continue to develop new functions to our reports, including predictions to find out which students have a higher risk to fail in the future, so actions can be taken early. So finally, a features comparison. Here's a comparison of features in current Fronter and Fronter 19. And I think I mentioned all of these, but there are more. And here are features I haven't mentioned today. But you will find more information under the help section in Fronter 19. More about this later. So back to the question, what is Fronter 19? We hope that you also feel that this is a major upgrade. So what happens now? And I'm going to leave this to Tapio to explain.
Thank you, Johan. So launch for Fronter 19 was April 4th. That means that your sites are ready, and manually created users, as well as structure like groups and rooms, are carried across to Fronter 19. Also, room owners in any manual rooms are carried across, regardless of whether the room is manually created or comes through an integration. For those of you who have an integration with an administrative system, we will be setting them up as well. And everything will be in place well in advance of the back to school. This also includes single sign-on. Should you have something like logging into Fronter with Färgday in Norway, Skolfederation in Sweden, Unilogin in Denmark, Appenwide London UK, Office 365, or any similar service. If you currently don't have any automated user integration or single sign-on in place, this is a very good opportunity to get that in place as well. Until those single sign-on solutions are in place, credentials over email is the way to go. And we are sending them by end of April to remaining sites. For users without an email in their Fronter profile, we have good support materials available for how to proceed. In brief, the important dates are as follows. The launch date for Fronter 19, as I said, is April 4th. This is when Fronter 19 effectively starts to be available for content transfer and for getting to know it. Then, in the end of July, current Fronter goes into read-only mode, and you can still access and transfer content up to that point. And then finally, in the end of December this year, the by then previous Fronter will close. And back to Johan.
Thank you, Tapio. So, how do I get started? You can see it as a three-step process. First, you need a course in Fronter 19 to where you can move content. Most of you will already have courses in Fronter 19. Then you can move content from a room in current Fronter to a course in Fronter 19. And when your content is in place, you can start planning by adding the content to your plans. So what content can I move? You can move all external files, such as Word, PowerPoint, video files, etc. You can also move Fronter pages and documents. These will become pages in Fronter 19. Finally, you can move Fronter tests. They will be upgraded to Fronter 19 tests and will therefore have to be moved separately. And what content can I not move? Fronter assignments, discussions, and wikis will not be moved. Fronter built-in audio files in the SPX format, which uses plugins, will not be moved. You can still, however, download your SPX files and convert them to MP3 and then use in Fronter 19. And as I mentioned before, Fronter 19 has a new improved plugin-free audio and video recorder. Moving your content is done in two steps. First, you export your files in current Fronter. Here I have created two folders where I put the content I want to move. Let's expand these. One folder for external files and Fronter pages and documents, and one folder for my tests. This makes it easier when I import the content to Fronter 19. I also added the name of the room. This can help later if you are moving content from many rooms. Each export folder should be maximum 250 megabytes. So if you have many and large files, you can divide them in different folders and export them separately. Second step, log into Fronter 19 and upload your selected folders to a course. We have built a new content import tool to handle your import. Inside Fronter 19, you will have a link to the help section in the top menu. And this will take you to the Fronter 19 overview, where you'll find information about the biggest changes in Fronter 19. In the next tab, Get Started, you'll find tutorial videos and printable PDFs that describe common scenarios and tools, like, for example, moving files. On our homepage, fronter.com, you will now find an introduction to Fronter 19 as well as an FAQ that answers common questions about this fronter upgrade. You will also find some helpful short guides within Fronter 19 when you for the first time use a tool like the library or the calendar or others. So let's do a bit of a summary. Per?
Yes, thank you very much. I hope that everyone have got a good impression of what this latest update to Fronter means. We have shown you the most important new pedagogical tools in Fronter and how you upgrade your content. And I also hope that you have a clear understanding of the timeline around this upgrade to Fronter 19. If you have additional questions, don't hesitate to call your local Fronter contact, and he or she will be more than happy to answer. It seems that in opposed to the first time we held this webinar, there are not actually any written questions. You can still make it if you have questions. Please write them in the questions pane. So here is actually a question coming in. Why is the content not automatically migrated to Fronter 19? This is because we see that a lot of content is actually not being used. So an automatic upgrade that just transferred all the content to Fronter 19 would is our impression that it would disturb teachers and administrators more than necessary. It's much better to use this opportunity as an opportunity to start on a fresh, review your material and see what you actually want to transfer. When you have made that decision, it's pretty easy to, as Johan showed you, pretty easy to transfer the content. And that way you have kind of made some cleaning, housekeeping of the content you have, and you are not forced to move on with a lot of old Fronter rooms and a lot of inactive material. Okay, but if that's it, I think we'll say thank you very much once again, and it was a pleasure to have you here, and I hope you can, if necessary, join the next webinar, join one of the local webinars, or contact your local contact person. Thanks for now.
Thank you.